The Card Counter is a new film written and directed by Paul Schrader and stars Oscar Isaac, Ty Sheridan, and Tiffany Haddish, as well as a cameo basically from Willem Dafoe. Like, he gets credit as much as the other three, but he's not in it that much. Oscar Isaac plays William, or Bill, a professional card player with a traumatic past tied to the military and a fairly long stint in prison. To be honest, I have never really been a big fan of Paul Schrader's work, and mostly that's because it's his style. It's always just felt a little too oddish for me, not a Pokemon reference. And that style is on display here, for sure. But with this story, it really all just worked. I have said a couple times in the last few videos I've done that when it comes to original ideas in Hollywood, you just can't do it anymore, so they need to focus on fresh familiar. And this movie is the very definition of that, as far as I'm concerned. I've seen movies about gamblers before, and I have seen movies about psychological trauma from time served in the military before, but I've never seen those two done together. And honestly, the way it's executed here, those two ideas complement each other very well. Even when Oscar Isaac's character starts kind of going off on a tangent about stuff that happened in his life, he was able to prefix it with an explanation from playing cards. You wouldn't think that would work, but it does. On the surface, it's an oddball mix of like any other gambling movie you've seen, with the cool character who knows just how to play the tables, usually wears all black to help accent his "I'm too cool for this place" fashion sense. And what ultimately happens is that the character falls on hard times because he either makes a very bad bet or ends up in a lot of debt to some shady people, or a combination of both of those. In The Card Counter, those hard times have already happened, and he really is this like card playing savant, and it's watching the events in the movie play out. It's those events that sort of end up dragging him back to these really dark places from his past. And I gotta say, Oscar Isaac absolutely crushed the performance. And that's interesting because the character really doesn't have this like huge range of emotion. He is pretty much just laser focused and absolutely meticulous in every way that he carries himself. But the sheer intensity that comes across when Bill is just staring at another character doesn't say anything. It's just like that smolder, but he looks angry, but you know he's not angry. It's just who he is. And it's just so intense. That was impressive. I would not be surprised at all if Oscar Isaac gets himself a nomination for acting at the very least. Ty Sheridan and Tiffany Haddish are fine in their roles, with Haddish actually standing out a little bit more, but simply for the fact that she clearly had much less to work with than Ty Sheridan did, but she still comes across as more memorable of a character. There is a lot going on in this movie, and a lot of that stuff is the sort of read between the lines sort of thing. Like, there's one character who's on this poker tour circuit that Bill finds himself on, and they face off with each other a couple times. Now, this character is always decked out with the most obnoxious patriotic garb you could imagine. He's just got the big USA hat and this like tank top that is the American flag, and his pants are the same, and he's got this posse of people that are always with him. By posse, I mean like 3 other people that are always chanting, "USA, USA." Yeah, that was some clear metaphorical plot device if I've ever seen one. But again, it really fit with what is going on in this movie. It's a great, albeit slightly twisted story that really grounds itself in reality and does a great job of showing us the sort of traumatic fallout that can come from some pretty horrific situations. Definitely not what I was expecting from a movie called The Card Counter. Looking back, absolutely what I would expect from a Paul Schrader movie. That makes it really hard to recommend just simply based off genre. This movie has far more in common with stuff like Bringing Out the Dead, which, fun fact, Paul Schrader also wrote the screenplay for, and Martin Scorsese directed, and Martin Scorsese actually produced, maybe executive produced, The Card Counter. So that's kind of fun. The Card Counter gets a very solid 8 out of 10. An outstanding performance from the lead actor and some pretty cool style paired with some weird tone end up making this an easy movie to recommend. That being said, it is not going to be for everyone, and it's not easy to watch on every level, but if you're looking for something a little bit more serious, a little bit more grounded in reality, then this is worth the watch. So what about you guys? Have you seen The Card Counter yet? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one.